Thank you to the 5 candidates that showed up. It's great that we continue to have a majority of candidates every year attend our forum, so I'm really glad to see that we have another majority. With only 9 candidates this year and 3 candidates that have actively boycotting us, I wasn't sure if we were going to get, I figured we'd get at least 4, so I'm really happy that you guys all made it. As you all are aware, it shows your dedication that you guys are serious about this and you're open to everybody, and I think that's a testament to you guys as candidates. I wish all the candidates would have that same willingness to be open. Many of you have participated in our forums in the past, but just to recap real quickly, some of the ground rules. We'll open with just you all quickly giving a 1 or 2 minute introduction of who you are and why you're running. And then I'll ask a first question from the pack, and then we'll open it up to the audience. I will try to be fair and make sure that everybody gets about equitable time speaking. If you hear this, me doing this, that means I'm going to ask you to wrap up. And I'll ask you to quickly just wrap up your comments so we can move on to the next question or the next candidate. With 5 candidates, we shouldn't be more than about 2 hours, luckily. In the past, when we've had 15 candidates or so, it's taken us 3 or 4 hours, and those are long days. But I hope to have it wrapped up in a couple hours, which will make it easier on us. And editing this, of course, this will be videotaped and posted on the internet so that all tribal members across the country can see. And so keep that in mind. You guys are giving your consent to being recorded and being posted by being here. Are there any questions from the candidates? I know you guys have all done this in the past, so I just wanted to see if anyone has any questions at all before we launch into introductions.
I've never done this in the past.
Yeah, that's true. But you've sat in the audience before, so you've seen it done.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Why don't we start at the end? Kevin, if it's all right with you, ask you to kick us off. 1 or 2 minutes introduction and why you're running.
L'chaim, Kevin Simmons, Naganim. Naga Chagu Kova Grand Round, be Muckleshoot. Hello, my name is Kevin Simmons. I come from Grand Round in Muckleshoot. I'm the grandson of Edgar and Marie Daniels Simmons. Edgar was from Grand Round. Marie Daniels is from Muckleshoot. They met at the Chamau Indian School. Edgar was the former chairman of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Round prior to being the Confederated Tribes of Grand Round back in 1934 through, I believe, 1938. I'm honored to be here today. Very thankful to be here. It's good to be with our telecom and our family. And I am running for council here today because I believe that it is my time. I believe that I am a leader. I will lead no matter what, whether I'm elected to council or not. I will lead in some form, shape, or fashion here within our community. 13 children in 1954 were taken from the reservation. Some of our late elders who just passed away in December have the early memories of being chased off of agency, across the agency, and then put in the foster care system. I grew up hearing those stories. There's a lot of pain and a lot of suffering and a lot of struggle, but it's not all negative and it's not all bad. But it's in that spirit, and it's with those ancestors and with the blessings of the Creator, and as well as community people and community elders that support me, that I step forward and seek an election and seek a candidacy for tribal council. I feel very honored to be here with these candidates that are here. There's a former sitting council member that's here in law school. I think that's pretty admirable. Brenda, I've known you for a few years now. A strong woman. Ann Lewis, known Ann, she's a strong woman as well. And then, I don't want to call him young Corey because he's older than I am. But Corey is a fine candidate. And then also not to mention the chairman as well too, Kathy Tom, who's elder stateswoman, Chairman Ren Lino, and Tanya Shepik and June Selshir, who unfortunately cannot be here for whatever reason. I feel very honored to be considered in these, at least in the same group of these people. So it is in that spirit in which I step forward. There are a number of reasons why I want to run for council, and there's a number of reasons why I think I should be elected, but hopefully throughout this process we'll let the people make their mind up. Hayamase. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Corey Manili, 2418. Here we are, another year. I'm probably not going to have as much to say as Kevin, but they were all good words for sure. Thank you, Kevin. I was born and raised here in Grand Ronde, Oregon, and I grew up around the area. I left for 5 years in the Marine Corps under business management and accounting. Learned a lot about the governmental entities, working with different governmental entities and stuff. Also working with a lot of brass or higher ups, dignitaries of the government and stuff. Also, I've had experience working at the casino in management there, and I think it's good for our council candidates to have a good understanding of our casino, you know, because it is a big part of our tribe, and what goes on there, what kind of regulations and stuff we have to follow while we are down there. Also, had a lot of experience with within the tribal entity with the natural resources, and also I worked with Denise in the mentorship program, which I think was great, and I 100% think that it needs to be put on the table and brought back. Also, and that's a lot of the reason why I'm here running for council, is to support a lot of those programs for the future of our people, you know, for their educational values for our future. And, you know, if we can't educate our people into some of these higher positions, then, I mean, what was the whole point of educating them in the first place if we're not going to bring them back home and get them here working with us and bring our family together and help support each other. As far as the tribal government and stuff goes, I just want to bring a lot of fairness and consistency back into the tribe, along with integrity. A lot of the integrity has just been diminished within our tribe, and it's unfortunate a lot of our tribal members aren't as proud as they used to be, even though they still are proud to be tribal members, but just not quite as boisterous as we used to be, I don't feel. But anyway, I thank you for any support given, and I wish everyone the best of luck this year.
Thank you, Corey. Yeah.
Hello, my name's Ann Lewis, roll number 3983. And my family is Edna Bobb, is my mother, and my grandfather was Wilson Bobb Sr. I'm a proud member of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, and I'm running for council because I think I have a lot I can bring to the table. I have experience 25 years as my own real estate brokerage, where I was the operator of my own business. I worked with many people. I worked with many multi-million-dollar investments, and I brought that same experience to the tribe, where I've worked as the commercial real estate manager for the last 6 years. And in that position, I oversaw the acquisition of the Portland area office. I oversaw the sale of the Russellville Commons apartment complex. I managed properties, and I also worked on the Chemawa Station development for the tribe. I believe my experience is in many areas, and that what I know and my knowledge can definitely benefit our people. I think my main concern that I have right now is the fact that we don't have a voice and we're not heard when it comes to major issues with the tribe. I have a real problem with that. I also have a problem with the enrollment issues that we're dealing with right now. I have a problem with responsible government, and there's a list. And I think that many of us are having a problem with it, but I also think there's answers. and I think I can help bring a lot of answers and resolution. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brenda Tuomi, roll number 1438. I woke up this morning thinking how thankful I was to be a member of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. I'm thankful for my ancestors. I'm thankful for my father, who, his name is Leo Jeffers, tribal member, who really is responsible for who I am today. I'm thankful for the many benefits that come with being a citizen of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. And I'm thankful for the responsibilities. I'm running for tribal council because I believe that I have had the experiences, I have the skills, I am a great listener, I have great negotiation skills. And for a few years, I've been saying that the politics are just completely out of control, that it just overshadows everything. Our tribal business is either slowed down so slow, for instance, the 1999 amendment. We've been trying to do something with that, reverse that for 14 years. That's 14 years that our families have been split and waiting, and that's life-changing. I think about the enrollment audit, and I think about how it's tearing us apart, and I think that it's very easy for us to choose sides, but what I really want people to do is step back and ask, how did we get here? What is in place? What policies, procedures, all of that is in place that allows us to get to this mess? I want our tribe to just step back and say, okay, let's start asking these questions. Let's figure this out. So I want us to ask, are there parts of the Constitution that we need to work on? Are our procedures sound, or do we make them up as we go? Do we have clear and measurable expectations for our tribal council? Do we have a job description for them? Or does it just go wild? But at the same time, do we have those clear and measurable expectations for our tribal members and for our employees? And then I asked, do we have clear and equal consequences for our tribal council, for our tribal members, for our employees? Do we have a safe and unbiased channel to voice our concerns and our complaints? Are we aware of what our ancestors are thinking of our behavior right now, and does that matter? And if it matters, how are we going to change our behavior? I believe if we start asking these questions and we as the general membership become critical thinkers, and so as long as we're asking these questions day to day as we're doing our daily business, I think this is the foundation to heal this tribe and get us going. I would really appreciate your support this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Can you hear me? Yeah. Good, good. Well, my name's Chris Mercier. As Kevin acknowledged, I am a former council member. I previously served on the tribal council for 9 years, for 3 terms. I served for a year as the chairman. I served for a year as the secretary. My plan was to never be back on council after 3 terms, and I was very adamant about that, and I've been reminded constantly about it since I was nominated for this election. I'm still enrolled at Michigan State University College of Law. I still have an apartment there. I can take a leave of absence if I'm re-elected, and that's what I plan to do if it turns out that way. Sitting back, taking a year off at council has given me a lot of time to reflect on some of the things that I did and maybe some of the things that I didn't accomplish. But being off council also makes me realize how when you're not a tribal leader, you're pretty helpless as you sit back and watch some of the things that go on. You're pretty helpless and you don't really know a whole lot. I think over the last decade that the tribe has gotten a lot better about communication to the general membership, about being more transparent. I know people are tired of those campaign phrases, but I do think you have to give credit where credit's due. I do think, though, that we've stalled a bit over the last year and maybe even taken a step backwards, because what I understand, we're no longer doing the live feeds. They're not publishing every letter that gets submitted to smoke signals. I don't think that this is good for the tribe. The impression I get after a year is that the tribe's in a state of turmoil and things have got pretty ugly. I don't want to read too much into social media, but if you go onto social media, you can see there's a lot of people in this tribe who they don't like each other. And it's gone to a level that I think is hurtful to the tribe as a whole. When you have people lobbying to kick families out of this tribe, I'm not sure what good can come of that. So I don't really like what I've seen over the past year. I'm not going to be arrogant and attribute it to my absence. If I'd been on council, it might be the way it is right now. We don't really know. But after a year off, I've just been a little stunned at what I've seen. And I think the answer is to start looking at how we govern ourselves as a tribe. We just had our 30th year restoration celebration last November. And I think it's time that we start to look back on those 30 years and realize what we've done right and where we can make improvements as a tribal government. I think that starts with our tribal constitution. I'm glad to see that the Constitution is on people's mind this election because it's the foundational document of our tribal government, and it's undergone very little changes over the last 30 years, even though the tribe is facing increasingly complex problems with gaming, with a growing membership, with being a major player in the state. I think we really need to reconsider how we govern ourselves, and I think that starts, one, with the Constitution. I think it starts, two, with input from the membership. And those are some of the changes that I'm looking to see. I want to see us reform how we govern ourselves as a tribe. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
So, the one major change, it's very difficult to conceptualize change within a large governmental organization. Not only are we a governmental organization, we are a multi-million-dollar organization. So when you talk about change, one of the first things that comes to mind, I think, is being able to build coalitions and being able to build collaborations. For those folks that truly, really work and network within the organization, know that it takes multiple people to get anything done within the community and also within the organization. So being able to adequately collaborate and work amongst people, I think, is very important to get any initiative done. So if there was one major change that I would try to work towards, it would try to build networks and collaborations that are built on positive behaviors, that are built on positive things like establishing, I noticed Brenda talked about establishing benchmarks and objectives, sound planning. If you listen to some of our former leaders and some of our elders that are up there now, they talk about our folks, our Grand Round people were planning people. So we just didn't go about seeking restoration. We didn't going about seeking and getting ready for the wintertime, but just haphazardly doing things. No, we built collaborations. We're trade people. You know, we had to know how to work with the people further in the valley. We had to go and work with people to trade for eel, for salmon, and to get stuff for camas. That same concept can be used within the organization and within our government. The difficulty is that we've been separated a little bit from that. Now, what we see within the organization, and I don't mean to talk bad about anybody, but this is the truth. Now, we have a community and an organization and a government that's built upon relationships, but 95% of those relationships are negative. It's built upon the division of, I'm not going to support that person, I'm not going to support this person, I'm not going to do this. I don't like the way that they look at me here. So when someone asks me what kind of change you're going to bring to the community, I say that's the first thing I'm going to change. I don't know how. I do it with prayer. I ask the Lord. I go to the elders and I say, help me do this. Let's not be divisive about things. So it's changing relationships and collaborations. Enrollment? Yeah, enrollment is a constitution issue, but essentially enrollment is an identity issue. It's a relationship issue. We want to change, we want to have things in our community. The first thing I'm going to change is relationships.
Thank you, Kevin.
This is the 4th year now I've been talking about unity within our tribe, and more than anything now I want it. So I think there's a couple of ways. So the change I want to make is I want unity and healing. I don't want any more division. I don't want any more arguing. And one of the ways that I believe that to be true and the foundation is if our tribal council starts respecting each other, building each other up, and encouraging each other. If they do that, if they model that for the rest of the tribe, I think that that will be a huge step towards unity. Another way that I think we're going to succeed at healing is if we look at our Constitution. I believe that our Constitution needs so much work. I believe we need to look at some of the wording. We need to change it. We need to tighten it up, close the loopholes, for lack of a better word. We need clear policies. We need clear procedures. We need equal consequences and for everyone involved. And I think that if we work on these two things, then that's going to help us. And unity is my one change.
Chris? This is a little hard to answer because you asked for like one change, and what I'm proposing could possibly lead to multiple changes. For those of you who got my campaign letter that should have gone out this week, the one thing that occurred to me, it was something that occurred as kind of an aha moment while I was sitting in one of my law classes, and that is to have a constitutional convention. Many of you might remember in 2007 we had a strategic planning conference where we brought we had different representatives of the community. Some of them were non-tribal, and we met for several days and we tried to hammer out like a plan for the tribe, 4 or 5 years, 10 years, that sort of thing. Develop some priorities for the tribal organization and the tribal government. I'd like to take the structure of that strategic planning conference and have it so it applies to, well, like I said, a constitutional convention. Have different branches of the membership, elders, veterans, youth, adults, have them take a look at the Constitution as a document, say what kind of rights would we as members like to add to our Constitution? Do we want council to be as powerful as they are? Do we believe we have a right to free press? Does the smoke signals belong to the general membership, or does it belong to the tribal leadership? These are changes that you can always make in an ordinance form, but if they're in an ordinance, it just takes 5 council members to undo it. So if you want these changes to be inherent rights as members, you have to put them in the Constitution. The reason I want to have a convention is because we haven't really done that well with constitutional amendments of late. We were supposed to have one earlier this year. It got canceled. Even then, I don't know that what was being proposed is what the membership really wanted, as they indicated in the survey, which is what the constitutional amendments were based upon. We had the bundled enrollment amendment, which failed several years ago, and then we had the unbundled enrollment amendments in 2008, only one of which passed. I think the problem is that we're looking far too often to the tribal council to propose the constitutional amendments when I think it's better to get a read from the membership on what they would like to see change-wise in terms of the Constitution before putting it out to a vote. So I imagine having this convention where you'll have a bunch of people will meet. They'll have an idea like we want, censorship-free newspaper. We want that to be a right. We're going to put that in the Constitution, and they agree on the wording, and they bring it forth to the membership, and we approve it. It's very similar to what they did with the U.S. Constitution. It's how they improved the governance of the country. I don't know if it's ever been done in Indian country. I would think it has, because you've got close to 600 tribes, but I think it's worth a shot. I think that we need to see real change in the way the tribe governs itself, and I think that needs to come by input from the tribal membership. and it needs to come through the Constitution, and I think you accomplished that with the Constitutional Convention. Thank you.
I agree, Chris. I think that it's kind of a tough question because there's so many things that could fall into play under that. However, I've fought for the rights of Native people my entire life. My mom was an activist. When it came to the Civil Rights Act for Native American, I marched with her as a young girl. Daybreak Star in Seattle, when the Native Americans, we got together and we marched to take that building over. I was a young girl, but I marched by my mom's side. Those things, you don't forget them. They stay with you. I have that same feeling in me today. The first thing I would want is, everybody knows how I feel about the enrollment issue. I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of it. We have split families. It tears me apart to think that we're trying to kick out our membership. And I think that would be the first thing I would go after, because I think we need healing. And I believe that our enrollment issues are a distraction and nothing else is getting done because we are so split as a tribe. There's so much anger and hostility towards one another, and until we take care of that issue, I don't see how we can move forward with anything else. Thank you.
Yeah. Or
I think what everybody said was great, honestly. It shows, compassion and understanding for people, and that's what I think all the candidates are here trying to do, is show that they care for the people and they want to help try to build a team for the future, and that's that would be my first thing, is to help build a team called council for the future of our tribe. That's where it all starts, our leadership. It starts up to the top and it comes on down. I've seen it over and over again. And, due to some of their leadership traits and characteristics, we've seen their faults, and, it's up to these people to step up and not only get along, but to make decisions for the tribe that aren't so hostile. This is very, a lot of us have been seeing, a lot of the meetings and stuff that have been going on, and I mean, some of this stuff is just, I just can't even believe the lack of team ethics on our council. And that is the main thing that I'd want to try to change, is let's build a team back.
Corey.